That one's terrible.
Oh, hello. Several weeks ago, I saw some random person on the internet say, "It's not like the professor will ever make a video called 'These Cards All Suck.' So presented here is a video called 'These Cards All Suck.' Because you can't tell me what to do. I'm Don Draper. I do what I want. You can't constrain me. I even put my paid writers on this episode. My best editor. Maximum effort for these crappy but inexpensive junk suck. Looks like I win this one, random person on the internet. But first, a quick word about our sponsor, Raycon. Go to buyraycon.com/Tolarian Community to get 15% off your order, or click on the link in the description box below. Raycons are available in 5 stylish colors, so you can pick the perfect one for everyone on your list. And they're priced right, at half the cost of other premium quality audio brands. Raycons have a 32-hour battery life and offer 8 hours of continuous playtime. It's no wonder Raycon's everyday earbuds have over 48,000 5-star reviews. They even have a built-in microphone, so you can easily use these not only to listen to your favorites, but can take phone calls with the press of a button. And with optimized gel tips for the perfect in-air fit, these earbuds are so comfortable and they will not budge. You know, I'm famous for my shake tests with deck boxes, so I wonder if I can do a shake test with these earbuds. I'd say that passes the test. I think I hurt my back doing that. Oh, I'm old. Oh, God, I'm old. Oh. So go to buyraycon.com/Tolarian Community or click the link in this video's description now to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. Thank you, Raycon. For years now, white has been the color that struggles to keep up in Commander. It's practically a meme at this point. And the sort of thing white really needs to join the upper ranks of the color pie is fog effects. No, wait. I mean card draw and ramp. But I guess now that you've got those, who wants to draw cards and cast extra spells when they can make combat obsolete? Well, luckily for us, white already has a fog-like effect in the form of Mandate of Peace. Mandate of Peace is an instant for 1 and a white that can only be cast during the combat step. Once the spell resolves, opponents can't cast any more spells for the rest of the turn. Combat is then ended with all creatures involved removed from combat without dealing damage, and all spells and abilities on the stack are exiled. This is actually a strange card, unique and a little difficult to understand, but it effectively acts like a fog and a counter spell that can only be cast during the combat phase. About to be dealt lethal damage from a Craterhoof Behemoth boosted Alpha Strike, Mandate of Peace will bail you out. Your own creature token fueled Alpha Strike is about to be undone by your opponent's Cyclonic Rift. Mandate of Peace will keep your army intact. That's right, this essentially can counter that Cyclonic Rift. Odd though it may be, Mandate of Peace is surprisingly versatile. Certainly it's no Ink Shield or Teferi's Protection, and it won't result in the sort of blowouts that those cards are known for, but unlike those cards, it's only 11 cents. A price so affordable it makes most of the rest of the cards on this list look expensive. Mandate of Peace is odd, but useful, and your opponents will never see it coming. Now, what is something that happens a lot in a game of Commander? Curving out perfectly? Turn 2 creatures? Nobody is playing Farseek? No, shuffling. Shuffling happens all the time. Fetch lands, ramping, tutors, ponder. Shuffling is a major part of the Commander game, one that is usually endured but not loved. Well, Cosis Trickster allows you to take advantage of the constant shuffling in Commander in a whole new way. Cosis Trickster is a 1/1 merfolk wizard for 1 blue mana. Come on, you knew there was a solid chance I'd mention at least one merfolk in this video. And it reads, whenever an opponent shuffles their library, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Cosis Trickster. I don't know about you, but I can't think of a game of Commander I've played recently where someone hasn't cast Cultivate, activated Wayfarer's Bauble, or cracked a fetch land in the first few turns. In fact, I'm hard-pressed to think of a game in recent memory where that hasn't happened multiple times in the first few turns. Cosis Trickster Trickster turns all that value for your opponents into value for you without really slowing you down. Sure, your opponent may have a perfect mana base by turn 4, but their life total will already be getting low from the pressure Cosis Trickster has put on it by that point. In the later game, after some tutors, Cosis Trickster will likely sit around as a great blocker that nobody will be thrilled to swing into. Obviously, Cosis Trickster is no commander powerhouse. This card is jank and it's no secret. But for only 1 mana and 44 cents? Yeah, that's worth it to benefit from an aspect of commander that nobody else really is using, right? Well, maybe not. It's still a fun and unique thing to do. So, as we all know, every commander deck has a card or two in it that helps it to win the game. Or, if they don't, they should. Maybe it's an Academy Rector, allowing your opponent to cheat out an Omniscience. Maybe it's a Final Fortune that can combo off with their Obeka Brute Chronologist. Maybe it's a Craterhoof Behemoth that will turn the— yeah, it's probably a Craterhoof Behemoth. Can you start running something other than Craterhoof Behemoth, please? We're all very impressed that you turned your army of 0/1 plant tokens into an unstoppable Garden of Doom, so much so that we've all been doing it, everyone, all the time. Let's find some new cards. But nonetheless, whatever that win condition card is, you'll have no reason to fear the boogeyman when you have Memoricide at your disposal. Memoricide is a sorcery for 3 generic and 1 black that asks you to name a non-land card, then search a target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of copies of that card and exile them, though it is likely less useful in pods full of players you don't really know. Among your friends, yeah, Memoricide can be an absolute silver bullet. Worst case scenario, it's a 4 mana graveyard hater. Best case scenario, you deprive your opponent of their primary win condition. What I wouldn't give to have this in my deck the next time I go up against Josh Lee Kwai's Shadowborn Apostles. Or just that pesky Persistent Petitioner's player. Oh, is that magical Christmas land? It sure is, but that's what jank is all about. Memoricide is unquestionably jank, but it's exactly the kind of jank that makes for some exciting gameplay and great memories. And it's 19 cents. It's 19 cents! That's worth never having to deal with Craterhoof Behemoth again. Now, every playgroup I've ever been in has had that one player who is always drawing cards. And yeah, they've always got that reliquary tower in play. When you find yourself playing against a value hog, there is but one solution, and no, it isn't Consecrated Sphinx. Allow me to introduce you to my friend, Adamaro, First to Desire. Adamaro, First to Desire is a legendary spirit for 1 generic and 2 red mana, whose power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in hand of the opponent with the most cards in hand. That opponent who always plays Necropotence, Rhystic Study, and Sylvan Library, my god, what a deck, will have nothing on you now. Well, actually, they probably will, because this card isn't that great. In fact, it's pretty bad. It's jank. But nonetheless, when paired up with direct damage effects on cards like Fling or my beloved Brian Stoutarm, this First to Desire won't be last to the party. Bloodfire Infusion turns it into a potent board wipe. Chandra's Ignition is a no-brainer. What's more, you can even point to the player with the most cards in hand as the real reason everyone just took 15 damage. Politics in mono red? Oh, you betcha. The only thing crazier than that is Control in mono red, which I did, which you should watch. Mono red Control. Bet you never saw that coming. And yes, Consecrated Sphinx is a stronger card, but it costs 50 times as much as Adamaro. In the end, isn't it better to win with something nobody's seen before? Well, yes it is, if you can pull it off. All right, gather round, children. It's time to hear an old man tell tales. Back in my day, the color green wasn't able to do everything, and you could only have one particular legendary creature per deck. And planeswalkers were godlike entities who couldn't be depicted on magic cards. And dual lands were just rares that came in regular booster packs. Wait, where was I going with this? Well, anyway, green wasn't able to do everything, I assure you. It had specific things it could and could not do. One of those things it could do was hose artifacts. Something I suppose it still can do, if it isn't too busy removing every permanent type and drawing enormous numbers of cards. Well, no card reminds me of the good old days quite like Hum of the Radix. Hum of the Radix is an enchantment for 2 generic and 2 green mana that reads, each artifact spell costs 1 generic mana more to cast for each each artifact its controller controls. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why would I play a 4-mana enchantment that simply slows down my opponent when I can run any number of 1-mana artifact removal spells that can stop them outright? The answer is, you wouldn't. This card sucks, but it's pretty cheap. The video is called An Introduction to Jank, Not Hidden Gems. I mean, you clicked it, what'd you expect? Though I suppose there is an answer there if your opponent plays a lot of artifacts. And according to EDH Rec, artifact decks are some of the most popular themes out there. Say what you will, but there's no denying how powerful and popular artifact-oriented commanders can be. Much like green decks themselves, artifact decks are known for their velocity, and anything that can keep them at bay is worth considering. 4 mana can seem a bit steep for that effect, but when you consider that many green decks can get there by turn 2, in those situations, some of the Radix just slows down artifact strategies, and in some cases will shut them off completely. So if your local meta is riddled with degenerate machines and tiresome instruments, consider this card that's only 46 cents. But the best, jankiest jank card on this list would have to be Aether Rift. For 1 generic mana, a red mana, and a green mana, you get an enchantment that reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card at random. If you discard a creature card this way, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield unless any player pays 5 life. The benefit of this card is obvious. Either you get a free creature or an opponent loses 5 life. Not bad for 44 cents. Sure, you could discard a non-creature card, that is certainly true. But if you've built your deck correctly, that seems unlikely. Aether Rift shines most brightly in decks that run primarily creatures and lands, such as Nikia of the Old Ways and Rurik Thar the Unbowed. You could, of course, still discard a land card, but that becomes increasingly unlikely the later the game goes on, when land drops are being made whenever they can, and more gas keeps entering your hand. Because Aether Rift triggers on the upkeep, its controller can play around it, making sure to cast the creatures they absolutely need on their turn, while holding off on the less critical creatures for Aether Rift's trigger. Even so, it's probably wise to run Eternal Witness and Timeless Witness for good measure, just in case you have to discard something critical. Gruul's ability to wound opponents if they choose not to play well with creatures is admirable, and as Commander becomes ever more combo-oriented, the sort of old-fashioned smashing that Aether Rift exemplifies can prove a refreshingly janky way to play the game. But now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Commander jank that is sucky but cheap? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks again to Raycon. Remember, you can go to raycon.com/Tolarian community or click the link in this video description now to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. Thank you, Raycon, for sponsoring this video. And to the person who said I wouldn't ever do it, because guess what? I do what I want. You can't tell me what to do. I'm done.